All right, so I already received a few questions through text message. Feel free to send them through the chat in the Zoom meeting or through the text message, and I will ask them to Pascal. So the first question is, how are we gonna keep the cash prior to the production? You say that we should be cash flow positive if everything goes well. It's maybe more than 6 months. We know that we have a limited amount of cash, so how are we gonna be safe with the cash we have on hand? Do we need more? What's gonna happen with the cash?
Well, it's an internal question that I get. In the short term, we're gonna have gold sales. Like you saw, we tweaked the letter of credit. So right now I got we got 3 million in the bank account. 2 million is in a letter of credit, and 1 million is in the, like I like to say, the checking account. So this is money that is accessible now. That $3 million. That 2 million is, it's going to be in partnership with our insurance company, but like we're going to start selling gold very shortly. So you got that. Of course, once you start producing gold, you have a mill. You have a mill that's got a value over $100 million. When you have nothing around that mill, so when I say nothing is, let's say there was no resource underneath the mill. So the mill's value is for the parts, but the parts, when you have resources underneath, it's the full mill value that you got. So now you got a mill that's worth over $100 million. So you can go and borrow money against that mill. So it's a lot easier to borrow money when you have assets already on site and built than borrowing money to start from scratch like greenfield. So we have that luxury. Of course, we have very supportive shareholders. So if need be, it's not something that we want to contemplate, but equity, the equity side is always there to support the growth of the company. But I don't want to touch that at 5 cents, at 5.5 cents. I rather sell gold, and that's the plan in the short term.
What's the time from a gold bar doré to a cash flow? How much time does it take to sell the gold? Because you say you were to produce in about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, the material from mix. How long would it take to your bank account?
24 hours. It's that quick. As soon as it hits the dock at the Royal Canadian Mint, you get credited. Let's say you deliver 500 ounces to the mint. Okay, you deliver doré, you got 500 ounces of gold and 500 ounces of silver. As soon as it hits the dock, the Royal Canadian Mint's weight it, and they say, okay, your doré weights, let's say 1,000 ounces. Well, 80% of that can be sold. Can be like you can sell that doré immediately. And there's banks that actually fight for that gold. So you'll call a bank and say, I deliver doré to the mint today. Can we discuss price? So we both look at the screen. We look at Kitco, and we have the same screen. So it's easy to negotiate the price of gold. And then it's basically spot price, and then you get the money overnight. So let's say because we're delivering the gold on Good Friday and it's a Easter Monday, the worst case scenario, if it's a long weekend, it's going to take you 4 days to get your money. But usually it's like 24 hours.
How close are we to the FL 23-266 high grade result? So how close are we to process the result we just let out this week, the DAC 5 section?
Yeah. Good question. So you saw that the bottom sill is already developed. So as soon as we move the drill from that area, so the development crew can access it, you're looking at 2 months. 2 months before that material goes in the mill.
Somebody else asking.
And we got 2 months of milling right now in front of us. So it's going to be good timing.
So basically, the DAC 5 will be supplying material once we run out of the material that's already on the stopes and in the chute.
Yeah, that's the plan. That's going to be the first stope, but we have other stopes in that deposit. Like it needs to be drilled. So, and then some stopes they're already in the indicated category, but some of them needs a little bit more development to or reconditioning to access them. So, like we have, well, it's a forward-looking statement, but like on the upper four levels, we've got a lot of ounces.
Now that we are restarting production and that we will be needing less dilutive financing, or let's put it this way, we'll be making some more money. Are we still planning on making the 7-to-1 stock consolidation?
No, 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 no. This is unless you impose it to me. You know, when I say you shareholders, there's no like. Of course, things can change in the future. I cannot say never. It will never happen. You know, but in the short term, I have no plan. As you saw in the AGM in December 2023, it was not even on the agenda. So I'm not even thinking about that right now.
What are the future plans for the company? In the French presentation, you say that maybe you'd be able to, when we do make some money, buy back some shares or plan dividend. So what are the plans when we do start to make some money?
Yeah, so the first thing is to have a very clean balance sheet, you know, pay your debt. So if we take debt, like if we take debts in 2024 to support the growth, the first thing you got to do is pay that debt off. So it's like any household. Before you buy a cottage, you want to make sure that or you it's not a right example, but um, you gotta pay your mortgage. That's the first thing. So you pay your mortgage, you have a very good balance sheet, you build some cash, then you look at growth. How do you do growth? A mining company, the first thing you gotta do is have a good life of mine. So invest in exploration and generate profit. So the profit pays for the exploration. You bring the life of mine over 10 years. Once you have that, then yes, in parallel, you know, as you build up the life of mine, you can start paying dividend, you can start doing share buyback. Like when you're generating profit, all these options are available to you, you know. But first, make sure you pay your debt, you got a good balance sheet, you got cash in reserve because you could have rainy days. So you got to make sure you can survive the rainy days, especially if you're a single producing asset, or you know you got all your assets in Quebec. So if we have forest fire like we did this summer and summer 2023, you're going to be able, you're going to have cash to be withstanding 3 months of no production. So you make sure you got a bank account well loaded, and now you start paying dividend, you start doing share buyback or both, you know. But first, have a solid balance sheet. That's the first thing you got to have. And the investors will reward Abcourt for having a strong balance sheet. I tell you, a strong balance sheet, we're not going to be at 20 million market cap. We're producing asset, a mill fully permitted, and 13 exploration property within trucking distance from the mill. Like there's companies right now out there that are close to $1 billion market cap, and they're not even producing. So to me, we're not going to be a 20 million market cap company very long once you show a good balance sheet.
Some people believe that the silver price should be going up and the gold price as well. Would you consider keeping a small amount of the cash that we could be making into inventory or into stock like the PHYS Sprott stock ETF that is deliverable in physical?
Yeah, they're like it's once like I mentioned, Danny. Once you have like your gold inventory, it's part of your balance sheet. So if you got money in your bank account and you're generating profit, of course you can start, you can start showing the confidence in gold by having gold inventory, you know, especially in a market where gold is going up. And of course the suppliers, the Hydro-Quebec of this world, they don't want to be paid in gold bars. They want to be paid with Canadian dollars. Some of them prefer US dollars, but you know what I mean. Like once you can cover your operating expense. The rest in a gold environment, a favorable gold environment, yeah, it's something that can be considered. But I'm sure I'll be receiving pressure to do share buyback, dividend. But first we need to have a good balance sheet and produce gold.
Could it be possible for us to do toll mining in the area, since we do have some excess capacity right now? Would we be able to accept some toll mining? And if so, is there any target potential around us?
Yeah, it's feasible. Actually, like what we're doing with Pershing Manitou is that Pershing Manitou was owned by Pershing. Pershing approached Abcourt to process their bulk sample. So we looked at it, and you can, let's say $100 a ton. So you charge 100,000, you charge $100 a ton to Pershing, and you process their gold, but they get the profit. Or you say, well, why don't we buy them instead and keep the gold for us? So Pershing was a good example. So we did that. We acquired Pershing. Now we're going to do that 5,000 ton toll milling in our mill. Now, around Sleeping Giant Mine, like we have our own deposit. So we can do toll milling for Flooding. We can do toll milling for Discovery. We can do toll milling for Pershing Manitou. So these three deposits, we'll certainly look at them to fill our mill. Now, if a neighboring exploration company's got a resource estimate, they do a PEA, they go through the permitting process, because in Quebec, you need two permits. You need the extraction permit and you need the milling permit. So for us, the milling permit, it can be done fairly quickly if the material from the vendor, let's say company A in Joutel, has got a resource estimate. So what the company A in Joutel is going to demonstrate the Ministry of Environment is that the rock, when we grind it and put in our tilling facility, doesn't generate acid generating material, or if it had uranium, for example. So these are minerals that you need to make sure that you know what you have in your rock. And then there's process that can be done. You can put process in place to control that, but you got to know what's in the rock. So you're going to do the environmental impact study for the resource estimate. So the company A in Joutel is going to have to do environmental impact studies, see what's in the rock. So who are the partners? If there is any neighbors, if it's near a town. No, Joutel, that there's no longer a town there, but you got people harvesting, you got trappers, you got snowmobilers, you got anglers, it's not just mining. So you got to go through the environmental permitting. So within 2-3 years, yeah, we could be toll milling someone else's material. But in the short term, there's no environmental impact study done on our neighboring projects. So you're not talking months. You're talking years of other assets surrounding us. But it might be the right time for us to acquire them. If you see that there's someone popping and that the assets look good, like we did with Pershing, you don't wait for Pershing to have 500,000 ounces reserve to acquire them, because then you're not going to buy them for 2.5-3 million dollars. You're going to buy them for $200 million, and then it's not them. It's too. Then it becomes too expensive. So early stage project. Sometimes for us, it's better to acquire and or you check their environmental impact study, see if it's going to be an issue with their deposit.
So I got one last question here, and then if anybody else want to ask question, feel free to either text or chat, because after that, if we do not have more questions, we will end the meeting. So is it possible that you share more core sample that you have had at Sleeping Giant, or more videos like you just showed us, so that we can keep the shareholder informed on a regular basis and show them what we are doing, because people seems to like it.
Yeah, well, it's a good suggestions. Yeah, we're miners, as like the mining community as a whole, we're not good at marketing ourselves. It's something that we need to do more and more, especially with the social media. So yeah, I think that suggestions. Danny is taking notes.
I
So
am.
so it's easy, and with the technology today, that video that you saw, it was done with an iPhone on the ground. So you see, the quality of the video for social media is fine, you know.
I got a question here. What is your social license with the community right now?
We're fully permitted. So social license. I'm guessing your question is with regard to First Nations. The nearest First Nation, well, of course, there's First Nation people occupying the territory everywhere. There's Tallyman, there's trappers everywhere. Actually, we have a family across the highway from us, and we're feeding power to them. So that family is Anishinaabe. Some Anglophone, like Anishinaabe, that's all the First Nation called himself. But when the European came in, they called him Algonquin. So it's Anishinaabe people. The community is in Picogan. Picogan is 80 kilometers south of Sleeping Giant Mine. Actually, one of our director is from Picogan, Mrs. Madame Lise Kistabish. She's from Picogan. She knows the area well. Actually, her family has got a trap line just west of the Sleeping Giant Mine. So they're occupying the territory. We're in discussion with the people of Picogan. Of course, we're going to do business with them. You know, contracts. Contractors, the Picogan contractors will be invited to participate for the growth of our project. We're going to be doing training. That's one thing as well. And you know, eventually have an MOU and eventually an IBA with the Picogan First Nation.
All right, so that's all the question that we had. Thank you, Pascal, for being so open and sharing all this information with us. And if anybody has any more questions, feel free to reach either to I or to Pascal, and we'll be happy to answer them. Have a good night.
Thanks, everyone.